What is going on, guys? This is your boy from Research Bengal Dragon. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow me on Twitter, TanTiger01, and hit that bell notification button. I'm here to talk about the next in the X-Men series. And by the way, the few movies I'm going to skip because I don't have them in my DVR, and the other one is I've decided not to watch it. Unless, like, maybe if it, I doubt it's going to show up in my DVR because PlayStation View is going to go down on January, I believe, 30th or 31st. After which I'll have no more PlayStation View. And so I'm not going to watch Dark Phoenix because given that it's a 2019 movie and, in this timeline, we don't have it anymore. It's not, it's not going to be released anytime soon. I'm sorry, that's what I mean. It's not going to be released anytime soon for it to appear on TV and show up on DVR. Because if it does, it just goes to show what an epic flop it was. The Dark Phoenix is a movie where even Rotten Tomatoes and all their, alleged biased system can't even save it. Alleged. Okay. But, so that's one movie I'm not going to watch. Another movie is X-Men First Class. Because I don't have that in my DVR. And Deadpool, the original Deadpool. I don't have that in my DVR either. I believe I've covered Deadpool 2 on this channel. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about X-Men The Wolverine 2013 movie. See, this is one thing the MCU is doing right. They're taking one character and they're taking the most popular character and expanding upon that popular character. They're expanding on listen, hats off to Hugh Jackman, man. An Australian ballet dancer made Wolverine more popular than he ever was, without donning the yellow spandex and the hat or the eye patch, whatever he has, without donning the comic book X-Men costume. Hugh Jackman made Wolverine cooler than he ever was. And this is one of the perfect examples of this movie. And here's where the storytelling kicks in, because this picks up right after The Last Stand, where Wolverine is still dealing by the spoiler. You know what? No, not spoiler alert. This movie has been out for 6 years. If you haven't watched it, it's your problem. I'm sorry. Yeah. So for more than 6 years, we're about to end 2019. Okay, so this is the movie where Wolverine is dealing with the guilt of losing the woman she loves. That although Wolverine, it is insinuated that he's a bit of a player. But then again, he's lived for a very long time. But in a short period of time, he's been around the block, man. He's like, that's what he is. He's a true alpha. But yeah, so he's trying to come to terms with the loss of Jean Grey, and like I said, this whole thing of Wolverine, it has a very the whole backstory of the character of Wolverine has a very high high ceiling of the ability to create. Not necessarily the standard, but the ability to create. Which means that basically, given how old Wolverine is, you can dig up many things from his past. Many things from his past, and make a story out of it. And if it's executed right, like in this movie, it will be good. Like in this movie, you have the whole thing about uh, the Second World War. Okay, yeah, the whole thing about the Second World War, where Wolverine saved this supposed Ronin's life, or samurai's samurai, or Ronin, whatever you call him, his life, and it turns out that this man wants to, like, become immortal like Wolverine, and basically convince Wolverine to finally die. As goofy as it sounds, this movie made it work because it tied it in. Throughout the movie, it tied in the idea of Wolverine finally being able to die with Jean Grey. Not an elaborate exposition was needed if you knew the backstory of Wolverine. You did not need all the all the dialogues and all the explanation and all the text boxes. But it was told subtly. This whole thing about going back to Japan, and apparently all these Japanese people know, like, good enough English. I'm like, okay, in Japan, okay, and then, like, you have the fighting scene on the top of the train, of the bullet train, with Wolverine and the Yakuza. And I'm like, all this commotion and nobody in the train saw you. Wolverine has his claws dug into the train just to maintain his balance, and nobody looked up like, hey, what the hell those knives doing over here? I'm like, what is this? This is like a medieval, sarcophagus. Like, I'm inside I'm inside that worm, that monster from thing. That monster from the Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, what the hell is this? Nobody thought to look up. But still, there's this whole movie, one word to describe it, including that scene. Or one phrase to describe it. Badass! Badass! Look, even something as goofy as the adamantium reservoir, adamantium warehouse, and the adamantium robot. I'm like, first of all, how did you get this much adamantium? I thought adamantium was an experimental thing by Stryker, William Stryker. We saw this in the second movie. How did you get so much adamantium? And shouldn't you be using, make a bit more of better use of adamantium, such as, okay, maybe they wanted to stay out of it because the previous movie, X-Men: The Origins of Wolverine, was so bad. Adamantium bullets, adamantium swords, adamantium what do you call this? Kunai knives and shurikens, because they showed that they have ninja protection. I'm like, okay, so why didn't you use adamantium there? In fact, why didn't that girl use adamantium who came to pick up Wolverine? Who, by the way, as an old grizzled guy, rough hair and everything, I told you one word, badass! One phrase, badass! Yeah, there are some plot holes here and there, but once again, this is the power of Logan, of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Okay, this is the power. Listen, you can easily, like, given how much Logan has owned this character. Hugh Jackman has owned this Logan character, the Wolverine character. You can easily replace, you can easily replace Spider-Man. You can replace Spider-Man with Logan in X-Men Infinity Wars and Endgame. And I'm pretty sure most people who know their weight in salt, who can hold their weight in salt in about knowledge of how cool the MCU characters are. Replace Spider-Man with Wolverine. People will call it a huge improvement. So yes, the special effects at this point, I'm like, you know what, whatever. Tell me a good story. This movie told me a very good story. It kept me engaged because I was watching it on demand. From commercial break to commercial break, it kept me wanting to see what happened in the end. Yeah, the end battle was a little disappointing. I'm like, okay, the old man got buried. Yashida got buried, but how did he get unburied, and how is he surviving with metal adamantium armor? Like, okay, but still, Hugh Jackman stabbing them with adamantium claws, bro. Yeah, so Hugh Jackman stabbing Yashida and says you told me to say goodbye. Well, sayonara, and then throwing him off the cliff and whatnot. Good, badass. And this was the problem. This is the problem with X-Men Origins of Wolverine. First of all, you had scenes where Wolverine did not act like the Wolverine. Okay? You did not allow him to be a badass. That badassery band-aid was not there on the script. So that's why that's one of the reasons. On top of everything else, that's one of the reasons why that movie sucks so much. This one, I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. So the story was compelling. The pacing was good. Yeah, you had some subtitles, but like I said, although subtitles annoy me, this movie had me so engaged that I was willing to tolerate the annoyance of pausing and reading subtitles. Because those new to this channel, yes, I am legally blind. I have very little vision. Somehow, I managed to see these movies. So the acting, the Japanese people did not act well enough. Logan did his part. Viper did her part. I don't know who played Viper, but she's not as good as Hugh Jackman, but she was workable. The Japanese people, especially that young girl Naoko or Naroko or something, she did not act that well. That other girl, the elder Japanese girl who ended up being Logan's bodyguard, who's also has the X powers in her, although she knows when she can predict when someone will die. I'm like, that's her power. How does that help anyone? I'm like, okay, yeah, but still, her acting was a bit more passable than the young Japanese one, but still. But still, the emphasis on Logan and his badassery, 8 out of 10. Plus, it had a pretty well put together story as well, 8 out of 10. All right, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you thought about X-Men: The Wolverine 2013 in the comment section below. And as always, hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification button. Thank you if you already have. And if you haven't already, please do that and follow me on Twitter at TanTiger01 as well. The next movie I will be covering is X-Men Days of Future Past, so keep an eye out for that as well. Alright, that's about it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And this is your boy, Tamri Saad, the Bengal Dragon, signing out.